Good day everyone, my name is Akumala of Mira Events Etal, and today I'll be teaching you banana bread. On my table I've listed out the ingredients I'll be using. I have my banana here, I have my flour, I have my baking powder, I have my brown sugar, I have my grated coconut. I'll be using it as a topper, as toppings rather. I have my groundnut oil, I have water, I have Oreos biscuits, I have cinnamon, I have my flavor, I have my baking soda, and I have my eggs. So let's start. You measure out your flour. I'll be listing out the ingredients you'll be using in the description box, so you know the ingredients you use. But basically I use 2.5 cup of flour, and we all know that we're expected to sieve our dry ingredients. Flour is also a dry ingredient, so I've sieved my flour. The next procedure is to mash my banana. I'm using 6 banana, but because I used a smaller banana, that's why I increased my own number to 10. If you are using a bigger banana, ripe banana, you should use 6 banana. So the first thing to do is I'll mash my banana. I'm using a fork to mash my banana. So I've mashed my banana. I have my mashed banana already. The next thing is to add my cinnamon. I'll be adding my cinnamon, and I'm using 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. We all know our measurement. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. I will add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon into my mashed banana. I mix. Then after adding my cinnamon, I'll be adding my egg. I have to break my egg. My eggs, I'll be using 2 eggs. So I will add my egg into my banana. Then after that, I have my brown sugar. I have measured my sugar. I'm using 1 cup of sugar. You can use white sugar also. This is brown sugar. I'll be listing out the ingredients in the description box, so you don't have a problem with the ingredients. So I've added my sugar. I mix. I've added my sugar. I'll be using 1.5 cup of groundnut oil. So I'm measuring 1.5 cup of groundnut oil into my After I've added my oil, I'll be adding water. I'm using 1.5 cup of water also. You can use milk, but for a longer lifespan, I'm using water. So I'll measure 1.5 cup of water into my, so I'll mix. Okay, so our baking soda, we are using 1 teaspoon of baking. I can decide to add my baking soda into my flour. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon of baking soda into my flour. I will also add my baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking powder into my flour. So I've sieved the flour. So I've added all these are dry ingredients. I've added my baking soda into it. Then my flavor, I'll be using 1 teaspoon of flavor. 1 teaspoon of flavor. So the next thing is to incorporate my flour into it before I add my flavor. So I'll be adding it. It's just a simple procedure. You don't need. I'm adding it bit by bit now. This is what it's giving me. I've not added the remaining flour, so I'll add the remaining flour. Because after I finish adding the remaining flour and I've incorporated properly, that I will now add my flavor. So I'm mixing now. It's time for me to add my flavor. I'm using 1 teaspoon of flavor. I'll add my flavor. 1 teaspoon of flavor. I've added my flavor. Then the toppings I'll be using, like I told you, I'll be using Oreos biscuits. Everybody knows Oreos biscuits. And I'm using grated coconuts. I grated my own coconut. I bought the normal coconut and I grated it. So I'll be adding some into it, and I'll be layering some for toppings. So I'm adding some. I'll add little into it as toppings. Please don't get close. Let me yourself to show what I'm doing. Maybe it's going to show you what I'm doing. So I'm adding those little, and I'll use the rest as toppings. I've added my Oreos. I'm also adding my coconut, just a little bit into it. You can use almond as your raisin, you can use sherry. There is a lot of toppings that you can use depending on how much the customer is paying. So I'm incorporating everything properly into it now. And my Oreos and my coconut inside, I'm mixing them. It's time for me to transfer into. I'm using foil. I'm using the smaller one. This is the smaller foil, and I'm using the medium one. So I'll be transferring into the foil. After I've transferred, is when I'll now add my toppings on it. You can measure, you can use your measuring scale to measure. Let me show you how to measure. I'll be measuring 240 grams into my medium foil plates. So I'm still measuring. I've gotten to 240. I'm measuring 240, so it has exceeded 240. So I'll remove from it. I'm trying to remove from it to give me 240 exactly. This is 236. It's giving me 240 exactly now. This was what we got from that recipe. I'm including my toppings now. I'm putting the Oreos as toppings now. So I also had my coconuts as toppings. You can use different toppings depending on what the customer paid you. They pay you very well. You use expensive toppings and all of that for them. So this is oops. Let me add more. Finish adding my toppings now, so I'll be adding my coconut also. Serve as toppings also. I'll add as many as possible depending on what you want from it. The Oreos and my coconut. This is what we got. This is the outcome of our banana bread with coconut toppings and Oreos toppings. So looking beautiful already. Ready to go into the oven. You bake for 20 or 25 minutes depending on the temperature of your oven. Thank you. Now if you have a baking tray, this is how you transfer into your baking tray before you put into your oven. You don't put directly into your oven. If not, the foil will melt. So this is how you transfer into your baking tray before you put into your oven.